Problem that led me to engage FiveFour, a couple problems really, but the main one being flatline business growth. We hadn't grown for several years, kind of just flatline. Business wasn't doing bad, just wasn't increasing, wasn't improving, and really trying to figure out a way that we could get over the hump, that we could go from 10 to 20% growth year after year to flatline to getting back to that growth again. Definitely weren't doing something at that point, and we needed to change. We needed to change something to get over the hump. I'd say the other thing was employment problems, retention, keeping guys on board, keeping guys happy, making sure everybody was very satisfied with where they were at with their job. I think that was probably the second thing, not the most important, but definitely a very important part of it. I think that these problems showed up in our business in the fact that we couldn't take on certain jobs. We had to turn certain work away because we didn't have the processes, the systems to keep quality employees around. And in turning work away, obviously we can't grow anymore. If we can't do more work this year than we did last year, we're not going to be more profitable. We're not going to have more gross sales. So yeah, we had to turn work away. There definitely is room for growth, but we just weren't prepared for it. So we were having to turn the work away, trying to get new employees, trying to keep the best employees on, just wasn't working. Things that we were doing inside our business to address these problems, a couple things. First, I think that we were probably throwing more money at the employee hiring situation, putting it in areas where we shouldn't have been putting it. We should have been addressing certain areas that were being left off. And then from the other side of it, I probably was pursuing, more aggressively pursuing jobs that maybe weren't as profitable because they seemed like the right fit for the crew that we had in place at the time, putting us in a bad position for growth and keeping employees happy. What it was like to go through the FiveFour process was interesting. It was great dealing with individuals who own businesses, who have dealt with stagnant businesses, who have dealt with employee problems and have gotten over the hump consistently and gotten businesses to a new level where they wouldn't have gotten if they were working through it the same old way, doing it. So I feel like that has done a lot for me. I think the biggest change for me as a business owner was the fact that I actually had structure to go through different training courses, going through different books, making sure that I follow through on doing all this personal growth that I know about. I knew how to do all this stuff before, but you kind of put it to the side and you're dealing with normal business stuff, you kind of forget about it. After starting to work with FiveFour, suddenly I have a structure. I know that I want to achieve these things in this week from a training standpoint, and then also being able to pass that along to my employees so that they get the same growth that I do. The biggest change for our business and our team as a whole, I would say, is the fact that we have systems and procedures in place now to automate every process that we do. Prior to this, you would try and coach somebody to do the right thing, and over time it would fall off and maybe it would become inefficient. Now we have systems and procedures in place where we hold people accountable if they're not achieving this and if they're not going through the right processes to make sure that we have consistent product every time, day in, day out. Most valuable element for me in my business I would say is getting back to growth. The last year, after my first full year working with FiveFour, I had a 20% increase in annual revenue, which is a big deal, and I think that a big reason why that happened is because we set up our mission, vision, and value statements, and everything that we do now looks through the lens of the vision of our business. And it's something that I knew about doing prior to working with FiveFour, but just never made work of it. And not only did I make work of setting those in place, but also communicating them to the team, to the crew, and everybody within the business, so that we're all on the same page with it. What I'd tell other business people about FiveFour is that it just gives you a level of accountability. A lot of the things that I do with FiveFour, I already knew about: personal growth, training, that kind of stuff, but I have no accountability. You get stuck in the day-to-day tasks of running a business, you forget about the personal growth, and they definitely give me a level of accountability, making sure that I'm sticking to my tasks. And also, I think focusing on the right things. It's so easy to get sidetracked in business and be talking about doing something that maybe isn't that important, where this is the most important thing, this growth, this personal development. Just having the level of accountability there, I think, is a big deal.